The case against the backlash to the undocumented illegal immigration. The North benefits from the immigrants. From the point of view of the South, immigrants to the North have benefited enormously and many have sent money back home. Those who return eventually bring with them money saved while working in the North, new skills and technical expertise, and innovative new ideas. However, of course, it could be argued that it is the North that benefits more if not most from immigration were authorized or unauthorized. Why? Then the fears in the North. Politicians gain much notoriety and support by focusing national attention on illegal immigration and illegal aliens. Sobrang convenient sa kanila para gawing scapegoat yung mga undocumented immigrants, both for the politicians and much more public, even framing them as quote and unquote illegal no carries with it. Of course, is a certain stigma na naranasan ng West Asia na nakaraan upon the outbreak of the COVID-19 sa West. After of all latter are safe to attack, especially the undocumented who cannot vote. Further, they represent a convenient scapegoat for both politicians and much of the public, even framing them as illegal carries with it and a certain stigma. And the continuation. Some simply find it disturbing to see a significant influx of people from other cultures, especially when they come into contact with them on a daily basis. There is also fear, especially in the United States and the European Union, that undocumented immigrants will become reliant on a state's welfare system and strained school system, public housing, and hospitals. Of course, fears of the North of all types of immigration were exacerbated by the terrorist attacks on or after 9/11. I recommended that we take more reading regarding this matter, okay, so that mas maintindihan pa natin ang 9/11 disaster. Next, Jonathan Moses in International Migration 2006. Economically, immigration has had a positive, not a negative effect. On average, immigrants raised the overall standard of living of American workers by boosting wages and lowering prices. Greenstone and Looney 2010. It's also not clear that the immigrants have less skill than natives. The immigrants skilled, say, for example, in the United States, foreign national living in the U.S. account for a quarter, of new patent application, diba? So they are that creative population and patent application, say, yes, and foreign educated nurses are making up a increasing percentage of those taking the U.S. licensure exam. Immigrants are not drained on a public finances and may pay more in taxes than they cost in services. Developed countries are dominated by aging worker forces and need an influx of young, vibrant, and hungry workers. A very strong economic argument is that the fact that the countries are dominated by aging workforces and need influence of young, vibrant, and quote-unquote hungry workers. And next, politically fair immigration. Politically fair immigration can contribute in various ways to greater democratization and less authoritarianism. In terms of finding countries in the fact that people, especially the more highly educated and skilled, can do live because of lack democracy and supposedly a lack of democracy most skilled and highly educated workforce political system. To reform themselves, more generally, it should strengthen the ability of individuals to influence political regimes and to push them in the direction of increased democratization. In a world of freer movement, nation-states would also compete with another in order to be better able both to keep their best people and to attract those from elsewhere. This could improve nation-states, the world of over and enhance international exchanges. And lastly, sa huling argument ni Moses ay ang morally argument. First, as an end in itself, free mobility is a universal and basic human right. Second, instrumentally, free migration is seen as a means to achieve greater moral ends in a particular economic and political justice.
Overall, Moses emphasizes that the moral aspects of free migration, and I quote, today's migration regime is terribly unjust. It contributes opportunity by faiths and has the effect of condemning people to life sentences in their country of the birth. As such, the current regime is tend to prioritize the rise of an imagined community, not the expenses sometimes desperate individuals, to the degree that the societies value a diverse population with a vibrant cultures. This could be rather than the restricting it through unnecessary profession and laws. And next, the remittances.
So, ang sabi dito sa first bullet is, the issue of remittances is increasingly important as more and more migrants, both authorized and unauthorized, make their way into developed countries in order to find the work. So those who are successful of them end up sending back money to their country of origin for the care of various family members, while they are often poorly paid by the standards of developed countries. They are better off than many in their country of origin. And while they are often poorly paid by the standards of developed countries, they are better off than many in their country of origin. Further, they are aware that their absence make it harder for family members left behind to survive. And the next slide is continuation. Remittances constitute the second largest source of money flowing into developing countries from the rest of the world. They are even catching up the foreign direct investment, or the FDI, from the private companies, which is less stable across time. At ang sabi dito is, they're mentioned highest in the world, or particularly in the south, ay ang Nepal. Dahil unlimited ang GDP up to 31.3%, di ba? So mas malapit na siya sa half. And the last slide is remittances. Remittances are usually seen as a boon to those who receive them, as well as the economies of the societies in which they live. Recipients are better able to survive poverty and natural disasters, to buy the basics they need, and to afford a few luxuries like a television set or a cell phone.
So, our last topic for this discussion is diaspora. Related pa din siya sa migration. So, most frequently, a diaspora involves the large-scale dispersal of a religious, ethnic, racial, or national group. In recent years, however, the use of the term has broadened to include the dispersion, dislocation, and deteriorization of any population. Doon pa rin umikot ang kanyang primary definition. Sabi nga ni Sapran sa mga particular definition niya ng diaspora ay, mababanggit natin na diaspora ang isang sitwasyon kung na-include niya ang mga specific portions na ito. Number 1, expatriate minority communities that are dispersed from some original central location to two or more peripheral locations. From one allocations ng isang minority group to two or more peripheral location around it. Basically, dispersal ang mangyayari. Number 2 ay ang that have a collective memory or methodology of their homeland that is maintained by the community and that binds it together. So, basically, yung mga na-disperse na mga members ng community na yun ay meron pa din cultural time together. Number 3, that involve people who are alienated from the country from which they emanate and are not fully accepted there. Basically, yung mga nangyayaring cases ng mga immigrants sa mga foreign countries, particularly yung mga nasa South Asia na nagmamigrate sa West, usually na nakakaranas din ng racism. Number 4, that involve people who nevertheless idealize a return to their ancestral homeland and maintain a commitment to restore that homeland to its former glory. So, for example, yung paghahangad ng independence or prosperity sa kanilang homeland, andun pa din yung kanilang sense of patriotism mula dun sa kanilang pinanggalingan. And last yung that maintain a relationship to the homeland not only through a commitment to its restoration but also through growth, solidarity, and consciousness resulting from this commitment. Syempre hindi naman nila makakamit yung independence, prosperity na gusto nilang kamtin para sa kanilang homeland kung hindi sila makakapil ng sense of solidarity and consciousness among them. So, ano ba yung relation niya sa migration? So, technically, hindi naman lahat kasi ng mga immigrants ay voluntarily umaalis sa kanilang homeland. Yung iba sa kanila ay sa pilitang pinapalis. For example, yung nangyaring invasion ng Russia sa UK. Kaya mahalagang pag-usapan natin yung diaspora. And with that, this is the end of discussion on global migration. And my final words, I hope we contribute to a significant changes in our society and the world at large para ma-eradicate natin yung mga ganitong issues ng mga immigrants sa buong mundo. So, thank you so much for listening.